Sweet. What's up, everybody? Thanks for jumping on to another episode of Expert Mentors Live. We are at episode 29. I cannot believe it, but super pumped. We've got a great episode for you guys. You guys are in for a treat with Miss Erin Catron, and just super excited to have her on with all of us today. So for those of you that are maybe tuning in to your first episode of Expert Mentors is really about tapping into the horsepower of the Honey Badger Nation, fast forward movement with the likes of Kyle Whistle, Daniel Beer, Jay, Michael, and Erin as well. And so take advantage of all of these episodes. They've been absolutely amazing. And, when we started Expert Mentors, we wanted to, like I said, tap into the horsepower of the group because there are so many amazing people that just love to give value and add back to the community. And that's exactly what we've been able to do with these episodes. And today's going to be no different. So super excited to jump in with Erin and ready to rock and roll. Erin, thank you so much for jumping on with us. And why don't you kind of share with everybody what you've got in store for them today?
So, hey everybody, and I'm just going to piggyback on what John just said, that this is just an amazing group of innovators who want to share and that are so giving with the knowledge. And so I just feel very blessed to be a part of the group and humbled to even be here talking to you today. So thanks for letting me have the opportunity, and I hope that this does bring value for somebody. Today, so just to kind of give you a little bit of background, I am a team lead and broker. I had an independent brokerage up until February of this year when we joined EXP. I have known Jay and Mike and John for a long time now. I don't know how long. It's a long time, because when you said you and Holly have been married for 5 years, I knew you before even Holly was there. So it's kind of crazy. But it's really cool. And I think when you trust and understand that the people that you are hitching your wagon to are on the same track, it's just really cool. But anyway, so my background is started in real estate back when the market crashed in 2007, and that was in Florida. So I had all these great big ideas that my husband and I were going to move to Florida and live the dream and start a real estate company. Actually, we just got our real estate license and thought that we were just going to go set the world on fire. And that didn't happen. So we got there our first 6 months together, and he and I were both doing real estate. So obviously our, sole income was tied into our production and what we did and our success. So our first 6 months between the two of us, we sold 2 houses. So clearly our plan was a little bit off, and we had to kind of reevaluate. And one of the things that I really want to encourage anybody out there today that is either maybe have had struggles in real estate, or, started out a little bit rocky, or even it can change too. I was visiting with one of my dear friends that runs a big team this last week in Vegas, and we all have setbacks. So there's always time that if you're running a team, if you're on a team, whatever that might look like, is you're going to have these times that you're just, you're moving forward and moving up, and then all of a sudden you hit this thing that just all of a sudden makes you feel like you're just on the downhill spiral. So don't lose heart. This is for you guys today that are wanting to improve your culture, that are wanting to maybe you need encouragement for having people on your team or in your organization that are bringing your culture down, the importance of culture. And so I'm just going to kind of go full circle talking on that today. So going back to what we were saying with Florida, we understood really quickly that this was not going to work for us, and our family was going to starve if we didn't either go a different route and not do real estate, or figure out how to make this real estate thing work. So we made some opportunities, a little bit of luck in there too, hard work, and we're able to start our own brokerage. Neither one of us had our broker license at that point, so we partnered up with some really great people, and our next year we sold over 100 homes. So we were able to get that turned around, but there were times that you felt like it was never going to happen, and it was never going to come together, and that we were going to have to go outside of real estate to be able to support our family. So having gone through that, we've been through that transition. We've been through transitions of really crappy markets, finding opportunity in every single market, because no matter if it is a seller's market, buyer's market, economy is in the toilet, it doesn't matter. In real estate, there's always opportunity. So finding that opportunity and then taking advantage of that is so important. We were in Florida. We had a brokerage there for about a little over 7 years, and we had a Dirk is my husband, and all of our family is in Oklahoma. We're from Oklahoma, and so his oldest daughter, her child was diagnosed with a really terrible illness, and so she had 2 brain surgeries. It's been now 4 years ago. And we just really felt like we needed to get back to Oklahoma. So after building a business for, 7 yees, we decided that for us, the best thing was to go ahead and move back and start all over again. So we did. We had a great group of people, and going back to that culture again, one of the things that we really felt like was important to us was that because our circumstances had changed, we didn't want to rip the rug out from anybody and just go, hey, sorry, see ya. Really enjoyed working with you, but now we're out. So we transitioned out of that brokerage, and we actually gave it to our team there, and they still run it today. So it's still going strong. They're doing a great job. I was the broker of record until one of the teammates could get their license, and then they ended up taking over. We didn't charge anything for it. We don't make any residual income off of it. It was something for us that we just felt like that was the right thing to do. So
that's awesome.
Thanks. It was good for them too. But so we moved to Florida, or we moved to Oklahoma from Florida, and I'm in the Tulsa market. I'm not from Tulsa. So I don't have any like sphere, or what people always say, okay, start dialing people that you know. I didn't have that. So I knew a handful of people just from going to college in Stillwater and knowing that there were some people here in Tulsa. But as far as getting up and running and starting over in real estate with no clientele, we literally started from scratch. I joined a brokerage. I joined Keller Williams. When I first moved back, I was with Keller for 6 months and then went independent. I love running a team. I love having a team. For me, working with other people and helping other people be successful it's my why. It's what I love. So I knew that in the model that I was currently under, I really wanted to be independent, and we'd been independent for so long that was just naturally where it kind of led back to. And I had great relationships. The broker at Keller Williams, she knew that was the plan the whole time. So it was, one of those things where she was constantly trying to talk me into staying, but eventually it just evolved into going back as an independent. We did that that was in April, May of 2016. So I'd come back at the end of 2015 and was with Keller Williams for a little bit. And I was just an independent agent, just me, just trying to get the business started again. And then when I did my new brokerage, it was me and one other person, and she wasn't even licensed. So she was just an administrative assistant. And that was in about April, May of 2016. Now we're not a big team. And that's another thing that I want to stress is that you have to kind of understand where you want to go, what your goals are, what your big picture is. And for me, I do want to continue to grow, but I want my growth to be good growth, and I want it to be the right growth. And from 2016 up until now, we have six team members. So we have, I'll take that back. We have 7. We have 6 buyer's agents. We have 1 listing agent, and then we have one admin. So we'll do about 215 units this year. And we just, in the last couple of months, hit that #1 ranking on Zillow. And so we're really excited about that. And we do a lot of business from Zillow. I know there's a lot of people that don't, but it's one of the things that we believe in. So culture is kind of what I wanted to talk about, because what I've experienced, and I think, and John and I were chatting about this a little bit, one of the things that I've experienced is that we can learn probably more from our mistakes as much as we can learn from our victories. And I've had a lot of mistakes. I've made a ton of mistakes along the way. And this last year probably for me was the most, I was stretched the most this year than I ever have been. I'm running the business completely on my own. So Dirk is actually, he works for a different company, not real estate, but when we came back, I just decided to do the real estate thing, and he decided to kind of try something different with government contracting. So totally unrelated. So it's been different for me because my management style is so completely different than I think probably 90% of everybody else. And, I always get really intimidated when I go to all the different events, and, especially when you're in a room full of all these really high, deep type personalities and really dominant, know their numbers, are so strict, and they know exactly what they're doing, and you're not going to get out of line because they're going to know exactly who's out of line and when they're out of line, and they're going to get them back in line as fast as possible. So I'm not as good as that. And my style tends to be way more culture driven. And what I've really experienced and found that's what I like, and that's what I'm attracted to. So it's a natural fit for me to try to promote that rather than trying to be somebody that I'm not. Because I don't know that I'm ever going to be that dominant, crack the whip, real more military style. That's just, and not that that's wrong and that you can't have, I think that those people are probably the most successful business people. I'm in the business of people. And so I feel like for me, I want to make sure that I have great relationships, and it can't be all warm and fuzzy, because at the end of the day, if you don't have a business that can sustain and make money, then what is the point? So I get that. But I also want to feel like I enjoy coming to work every day, and that the people that I work with are happy to be there. And there is more to it than just helping people make money. And I think as we understand, especially millennials, this new generation, they're not as motivated anymore by just money. And so what we do is we tend to attract the people who are really inclined to enjoy where they work and what they're doing. This last year, and stop me, I'm just talking, John. So just
no, you're good. I've got some good points. I just want you to keep rolling because I think it's great context for everybody, and we'll dissect a little bit here in a second.
Okay, all right, because me, I could sit here and talk for 18 hours. So my dad was a preacher. But anyway, so this last year, I think because I do care about the people. And when I said that when I started in Oklahoma and it was me and one other person, that one other person was a friend who contacted me and reached out and basically was in need of something stable, and was going through a very difficult time in her life. And it was really more of a favor and a temporary thing. And so I was brand new in the Oklahoma market and had just decided that I was going to get things going on my own, and then I would start growing. Well, she reached out, and I said, why don't I just hire you as an assistant? You can pick up signs, pick up block boxes. You can help me with the transaction coordination side. You can kind of do social media stuff, just trying to kind of find a place. And it was something that gave her purpose, and it was something that I felt like I could help somebody, and it still helped me. So it was good for me. as that relationship progressed and she became more comfortable, I encouraged her to get her license. So she and I together started, basically, that's where our team started. And as our success grew, her value and her just overall feelings of worth and value just got better and better. And so even though she was in a really bad place when she started, it was just this really awesome like transition. And so it was something that I think for me, I thought, I'm helping somebody and I'm pouring into somebody and I'm making a difference. And I think that that's where sometimes we get a little bit sideways, because even though it's not me making a difference, and as soon as I think that I have any control over that or any connection to that, that's when I think things can really kind of go offline. She was my number one salesperson. She went from being, I don't want to even talk to people, please don't make me ever answer phones, to, her first year she did over 50 deals. And she was a stay-at-home mom for like 18 years previous to that. So it was really amazing. And for me, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so incredible. And look at what she's been able to do. And I got so excited and wrapped up in helping and doing that. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but when things started to change, that dynamic shifted a little bit and things happened in our business that, hindsight being 2020, I wish that I hadn't done, but I did. And what happened is her husband came to work with us too. And so then again, that dynamic changed. It started creating a lot of dissension within my team. And they were the top producers. They were making a ton of money. They were making me a lot of money. And the rest of my team was really resentful because I started focusing so much on production and focusing so much on what they were doing. I let that culture slide. And things started happening that I would just make excuses for, or I would, just try to smooth over. And I'm a really good smooth over. Like I am really good at juggling that and making people think that whatever it is that I'm saying is the great idea. It's the right idea. So I did that, and I continued to do that, and I continued to allow things that should have never happened to happen. And of course I'd go back and, slap their wrist and say, you can't do this, because this is, we're a team and this is how it's supposed to look and how it's supposed to be. And if you're doing this, then it makes it hard over here. And so it would get better for a little bit. And then all of a sudden again, something else would happen. And just like, I can give you examples of things that you're probably going, oh, well, they're high producers. Like one of the things that happened was, which got to give them credit, they changed every writer on our signs to their phone number instead of the team phone number. So it was things like that that then I have to go back and go, oh crap, I hope everybody didn't know that they did that. And then I have to go around and have somebody check every sign all the time to make sure that, we're not promoting just one or two people. So those are the types of things that were happening that I kind of kept pushing underneath the rug. And then it hit the fan, and I had agents leave my team. I had people that it makes it where they don't believe you anymore. Because if you're sitting here preaching team, love, everybody's so on the same team, we're all helping each other, and then you go, except for this over here. Because if you do enough business, then I'm not gonna make you follow the same rules. And it all came to a head. I came in one day, their stuff was cleaned out, they were gone, and took a lot of things kind of with them. And it was, and now I'm left with the team that basically is, maybe I'm not as credible as I was. Right. And, this has now become something that, yeah, they're here and they're still here. And we've had to really recover from that. And so that's where I would say that, and this can happen. It can be a million different things that creep in to your business. And it doesn't have to be just on Teams. It's your business. It can be with admin. It can be, I mean, I love this analogy. And it's something that we use in our office now a lot. But when we're attracting people, especially to our team, and we have a hybrid model. So we have an individual agent that you can be 80-20 agent, or you can be on the team. We tend to recruit or attract more to our team just because I think it's something that's very different. And again, our culture is something that's appealing to a lot of people. So we attract a lot of team people. But the analogy that I love, and John, you may have told me this. I don't remember who told this to me. It's probably you at one point. But it was like our team, we visualize it as this tall glass of water, and it's just this sparkling water, and everybody, it's so refreshing, and it's so good, and it's good for you, and it's so appealing. And so everybody wants to drink out of this glass of water because it's so good. But all it takes is one turd in that water to run it for everybody.
That's it.
And so that is what now I have kind of in my mind of, I don't want a turd. I don't want to run that for the whole collective group over one turd. So that's kind of that's kind of where we've come from this year, especially this year of growth and learning and trying to not repeat mistakes, because I think that's really, my husband would tell you that that's probably my number one failure, is that he says that in our marriage, that I just keep doing the same things over and go, I'm sorry. He said, but if you say you're sorry, then you don't do it again. Like, yeah, you're sorry that you just went and bought 10 pairs of shoes, but don't go do it again if you're really sorry. So, but that's one thing that I think is really important, is that we recognize it and then we learn from it. And that we don't repeat that same thing, and that we recognize it when it's happening so that we can get ahead of it and stop that before it gets out of control.
That's awesome. So let's unpack a little bit of this and give a little more clarity for everybody. And so when you talk about one of the questions that's on my mind is, what did you learn with the team in Florida enough to feel confident in the reputation that you had built to just turn it over to them without setting some type of residual structure, something in place to where you can just leave that with them, that you knew it would be in good hands? I'm just curious, what were some of the things that you learned from that experience?
Okay. So one of the things, and it is because the name of the company is Erin, Catron and Company. So it's our branding, it's my name, it's a lot of things that you just go, yeah, you're right. It's a little bit of a leap of faith. Those relationships though, and this is what I think is really important too, is tenure is really important. And I think that that's something that's hard in our business, because a lot of agents are that grass is greener. And so they think that they should jump around and let me try this brokerage. Let me try this brokerage. Let me try this brokerage. So we had agents there that had been with us for, 4 or 5 years. And so that was a lot of, I guess, reassurance for us because we knew them. The other thing was we had systems in place that, we could still manage, that you didn't have to necessarily be there all the time, but you could still, oversee things. So I would say, just the people in general and knowing them. I think if it would have been a younger team it's a lot different when you've had 7 or 8 years at a place and then you hand that over to people that have been there for 4, 5, 6 years over, something that you've only had for a year or two, and then you're kind of giving it to people that you're not 100% confident in.
Yeah, absolutely. So that definitely makes a lot of sense. And there definitely was a lot of trust for you to be able to leave that and them to carry on that brand recognition. So that's really good. Now, diving into, I guess what would be really helpful, what is your definition of culture?
Oh my gosh, you're supposed to prep me for those things. Well, honestly, I think culture is just whatever, and this is going to sound terrible, but whatever it is that's in that environment. Because culture, I think your culture can be your ethnicity, your background, the things that mold you, shape you, that you've been exposed to. And maybe it's more exposure than anything, because I think that, if you take people with strong family traditions, whether they've grown up in, this lifestyle, that culture is there, whether they wanted it or not. And that's how they were exposed to different traditions. So I would say really what that environment that you're in is your culture.
That is it. That's awesome. For us, it's always, it's the collection of your people is what makes up your culture. So it's that environment. And
yeah, I need to steal that. The collection of your people.
No turns.
Thanks.
And so when you look at, from really trying to identify, and the thing that you shared that hopefully everybody picked up on, the reason that, when you start out small and you have that assistant, we tend to not be really crystal clear on our written standards, our written values, and we let things slide, and we don't have a solid agreement of success in place because everybody's doing everything. And then what happens that there start to be some success is that this sense of entitlement slips in. And that's usually what happens until you like draw the line in the sand and say, hey, these are our values. This is what we live by. This is our crystal clear water. We're not allowing anything to jeopardize that. And so was that when you lost those key people and you had to do some self-reflection? Is that when, did you guys start to crystallize some of the values that everybody kind of follows today?
Yeah, because especially you kind of hit the nail on the head. Starting out with somebody in a position that they, it evolves into a different position.
Yeah.
Looking back, oh my goodness, I made so many mistakes because first of all, I'm really hard to follow because I think, here's an idea. And then, okay, let's evolve into this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And so, it's funny because the people closest to me, it's like, I don't even ever finish a full sentence. Because my mind's already like going on to the next sentence and trying to figure out where we're headed. So I fail miserably when it comes to structure and having this is really funny. It's not funny, but it is. When all of this happened and some of the things that transpired when they left the team had to do with a lot of things that I have in writing that you can't do. That doesn't fly. I mean, I've got this agreement, and I go back. I never had him sign this agreement. I had nothing. Never even signed. So not only am I terrible because I have it, but I didn't even use it. So it's like an independent contractor agreement. Yeah, we have that, but no, is it signed? No, because this person started as an assistant, and I never even thought that I needed to have an independent contractor agreement or, whatever it is, and everything, because I am very laid back and I am very open, that it's just like, okay, this sounds good. Let's try this today. Hey, you can sell real estate. You should be a salesperson. Let's get your license. Okay, now, wow, you're rocking and rolling. Well, we'll just add you to the team. And so, yes, that is one thing that your culture, just because you have great culture, if you don't have great systems and if you don't follow that, it will come up and it'll bite you in the butt because it will catch up with you. So you have to have those things in place. And you're exactly right. Looking back, I just go, oh my goodness. I went back to, there was some really crappy things that went down that I could have easily avoided had I just done it the same way that I do with everybody now who onboards. And so now that we have, a process in place, probably wouldn't happen. But because it transpired differently, I didn't take care of what I needed to take care of because it was a different situation.
Yeah. It falls on all of us, right? So it's just being disciplined to that process. And sometimes it takes touching the hot stove, to really wake you up to
that makes you super sensitive, on that to not do it again. So
it absolutely does. And the lesson is, we have all expectations, and anytime that we are dealing with other human beings, and it's left to an expectation, we will be let down 100% of the time. So that's where the agreements of success, what is success in your current function, is absolutely critical. So you'll avoid that heartache that is sure to come. So talk to me a little bit more, where you guys have really drilled into the values. Do you guys have a set of values that are written that, you guys kind of follow? Talk to us a little bit about that.
So we do our, I'll just pull it off my wall real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So we still do our strategic.
Yeah, look at that.
I know. And we also want to make sure that individually, that with our team, we want to recognize and identify what their goals are. And then collectively, one of my favorite things is like doing collective goals with the team. And we've done, I don't think I have anything in front of me, but we've done like spiffs. I call them spiffs, bonuses, whatever you want to call them, contest. So we want to have the same vision. We want to be all knowing, core values, vision, even down to like how many houses we want to sell this year as a team, how many houses, individually that their goals are. I have one of my agents that by the end of the year, she wanted to do 3 million in sales in the last 3 months. And so, pinpointing those goals. And then we even set goals every Wednesday. So weekly goals. So in our meetings, we want to say, hey, this is our goal for the day. And it might be new people getting through the onboarding. It might be them just saying, hey, I'm going to get all of this nailed down, because we're with EXP now. And so that's a little bit more difficult than just onboarding with an independent brokerage and saying, hey, come on in, you're good. So they have to follow that checklist and make sure that they're finishing that. It might be contracts. Maybe they're going to say, I'm going to get them this many contracts this week. It might just be something where I say, I'm going to set 5 appointments this week. So it doesn't always have to be contracts or closings. We want to do something that's very easy to digest in a short amount of time. And then we want to celebrate those victories together. Today in our meeting, it was one of those, really good meetings that, because they're not all good. You're going to have some meetings that they either fall flat or people just aren't on. But it's important to try to keep them really upbeat and positive. But this morning we played a call from one of our newest agents who literally just got her license this last week. And her client, we have it recorded, and her client was just raving about how great of a job she's doing. And that she's been so helpful. And so we played that for everybody to hear. And then we had another, one of our buyer's agents just said, hey, can I just say something really quickly? I just want to brag on Heather, because I'm telling you, I have called Heather like 18 times this week and asked her a million different questions. And she has been so helpful and so great. And then somebody else will say, and it just becomes something where everybody is complimenting each other and helping each other and wanting to make sure that the group is doing good. So we do a lot of those. We did a movie day last week or week before last. We had a goal that we were going to do 7 contracts in 7 days. And we hit that goal. And so we all did Mexican food and went and saw A Star Is Born together. So, those are the things that was a week goal. It was a quick, we can hit that goal in a week, and then we're going to plan, and we're all going to get to go do something fun together. So we really like doing things that are, individual goals, and then also our team goals.
Yeah. So hopefully I want everybody to kind of pick up on this, the environment that you've designed, right? And so if you don't like your culture, it's probably that you don't have a combination of the right people to the values that are important to you. And so, Erin, you shared, your style is a little bit different. You're a very people person and very collaborative type of environment. So you've surrounded yourself with people that align to their people people as well. And they're okay in this collaborative environment. And so what I want everybody to pick up is that everything aligns to your style. And when you are true to who you are, it's an energy that we put off. And this is why core values are so important, is that, and you ladies have just, I tell Holly she's got the best bullshit detector I've ever seen in my life. And it's when we're not true to our values, we put off this negative energy. And that's where us guys, we can pick up on it too, but women instinctively can pick up on it a lot easier. And that's why if you're ever in a situation with somebody and you're like, man, this just doesn't feel right, usually what's happening is that they're not being true to who they are. They're not being true to their values. So what I want everybody to pick up on is that when you get clear on your values and you align your style and your environment to it, you put off the right energy. And when you put off the right energy is when you build trust. And you can never build trust when you don't have, when that energy is off. Right. So what everybody needs to understand, the reason that this has been a great year in the team dynamic that's working really well for you, because your style is aligned to your values. You're putting off the right energy. You're rebuilding that trust. And you were forced to do that because of, not setting the right agreements in place, people building that sense of entitlement. And I'm sure the energy was out of whack back then too.
Miserable.
Yeah.
When that was going on and there was that dissension going on, I was so miserable. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't want to go into work. I was dreading every single time. I mean, I had to have 2 meetings. I had to have meetings with this group of people and this group of people. And I mean, it was just my life at that. I mean, even though I'm a very positive person and I'm pretty good about just like shedding that and being able to go home and I mean, it's, sure. But it's still like Dirk was like, oh my gosh, Erin, like you've got to figure this out, because it was affecting me. Mm-hmm. And it affected everything. So you're right. When it's not true to who you are. And on the flip side of that, this is not everybody's style. And so I'll use Dirk because we worked together for 8 years. And our dynamic with that team was completely different than the dynamic of this team. Mm-hmm. And they both worked. They were both good. But I will say that right now, with the way that I run my team and the people that I have on my team, Dirk would hate it. Like he would come in because he's so high D and he's so just results driven, that he wouldn't have 30-minute meetings. He would have, as soon as we were finished with our numbers, he'd be like, go to work. Yeah. That's how many you're behind on your calls. Go make calls. I know what you need to be doing. You better be sitting at that desk making phone calls today, because I saw your numbers. And, it's just a different style, and that's not how I like it. So right. You're so right. You have to align, and it doesn't mean that it has to be all one way or all the other. Like, because I think together, usually you have people, whether it's a business partner or somebody on your team that, really does connect well with on the lighter side. That's where you have to recognize how you partner with those people to get that mix. Mm-hmm. And then you will end up with the right people if they can see that that's truly who you are and what you like to do. And they enjoy being there because it's the right style.
It is. It's so important too. And, we talk a lot about, the values and making sure that you hire, fire. The two other points that are really important with the values is that you give your team decision-making filters as well. So they know how to handle different situations instead of, you don't want them to be dependent upon you to come to for every answer. You want them to be, self-sustaining, being able to make decisions, do the right thing. And how they know the right thing is that it's aligned to the values, right? So you look at any type of situation and it's like, okay, was it good or bad? Was it aligned to the values? Then of course you did the right thing. And then the other thing to remember too, when you're bringing people on board, if they're not in alignment to who you are, your style, your values, you might be frustrated with them, but there's a dang good chance that they're miserable as hell being in that situation with you.
Yes.
And so it's really important to understand that and look at it not only from just your viewpoint and your perspective, but also step back and put yourself in their shoes for a second. Because if they don't align to your values and your style, they're going to be miserable and it's not going to work. So take that into consideration. And it's really important when you look at when you guys are bringing people on board to your team, why it's so important to nail it. And you have to take into consideration, for us, we evaluate on two things, right? One, can they get the job done? And two, are they a core value fit? And just because they might be the Michael Jordan of real estate, but if they're not aligned to your core values, it's not going to last. They're going to disrupt things. There's going to be some turds in that water. And so you really want to avoid that at all costs. So that's really, really good. So talk to us real quick here, because I know before you jumped on, we talked about the hybrid model, and I know Kinder and I, we tried that when we were evaluating, did we want to buy Coldwell Banker, and which ultimately led us to go independent. And man, we tried to mix, the independent hybrid agent with our team model, and man, we just couldn't make it work. So talk to us a little bit about that. I'm super, super curious of how you've been able to gel that together.
Okay. So first of all, it's pretty separate. So when you're saying gelling, and it's gel together, I think the key is that you have to really keep it separate. So most people that are attracted to that independent model and they are looking for the higher percentages and they love EXP because of the things that they're comparing that against other brokerages. So I think it's important for me to understand that I'm not recruiting them for team. And so it's a totally different type of conversation. So instead of, you don't even talk about team. I mean, it's like they're almost two different businesses. Now, one thing that I love, and one of the reasons that we ended up going to EXP is because previously we only had the team. And so if the team wasn't a good fit, then it just wasn't a good fit and you weren't a good fit for us. Now we have the option of being able to say, hey, you're probably not a team person because number one, you're more of an entrepreneur. You've already got a book of business. You do well. You're really just wanting to keep more of your commission and get to take advantage of all that EXP has to offer. So what we've done is we've used it as a stepping stone too, a little bit. And I'm not afraid to say that the team is not always a great fit for everybody forever. And so we use that to our advantage to say, hey, we've had a lot of agents that have come on, had really good success. And then the next phase might be for them to go as an independent agent. So with the team is going to give you way more support, accountability, office space, lead generation, transaction coordination, I don't know, a lot of, other things, just activities that we do together, making sure that we're really setting you up for success. And we have a hands-on, my office is open. My team can come in if they need something. I mean, I'm getting a big portion of their split, so it's in my best interest to make sure. So that's one option. Then as far as the independent brokerage or independent agents go, that is really, with EXP, they have what they need as long as they know what they have access to. They have access to all the different programs. They have access to the world. They have a state broker. So really that is more of, we'll do a couple of things like we just talked about in our meeting this morning. We will have like a Christmas party that we will include everybody, but it's going to be a lunch type Christmas party. Come in and we'll feed you and see you and hug your neck and, glad that you're here. And our team Christmas party will be an intimate party that will probably end up being at my house, and we'll probably all play games and we'll eat and we'll drink and we'll have a great time, and we'll be there for, hours and, having this, closer type thing. So it's not that you don't want to forget about those people, but you can't allow them. And I'm building I bought a new office, and I gutted it. So it feels like I'm building it because I gutted it, and we're recreating that. And I've had a lot of people ask me if I'm going to allow, our independent EXP agents to have office space, because right now we have about 1,800 square feet in our current office, and we're going to be moving into 5,700 square feet. So we're basically tripling our size, and we're going to have room to grow. That room to grow is for my team. And so what we want that to be, and it's hard for me because I'm such I grew up with 5 siblings. There's 6 of us. Like, my mom throughout my entire life was always the more the merrier. There was always tons of people at our house, in and out all the time. And so for me, I want everything to feel like, oh, it's a big happy family. But I have to remember that my team culture, if I start mixing those 2 cultures together, is going to be detrimental. And so I even thought about having office space that could be leased out by our, independent agents. And I've even decided on that, because we're going to have a small workout area. We're going to have a full kitchen. We're going to have some really cool, just little things in there that I want my team to benefit from. And so, and I think that there's other models that work with differently, and that's fine. But I think for me, keeping them separate is a big thing.
That's that makes a lot of sense. And so when you look at it, it's just a very much different
like 2 different businesses
model. Yeah, 2 different value propositions, completely 2 different things. And I think one of the things that I know this is when you start to look at the team dynamics and the team model within the EXP platform. I know we've had a lot of discussions on taking those that are on the team, right, that have the aspiration, desire, ability to hit that icon status. And what does that look like, right? What is that progression for them over a 2-3 year period maybe? And really laying that roadmap out for them. And so I think that's one of the things that you get to kind of work with and figure out, because how do you still maintain that team culture with those that have that aspiration and not lose them completely over to the independent side. So yeah, I mean, but when you have the right people that align to the values, bought into the vision, that align to the energy and the style, then you can figure the rest out.
Well, and I think there's a lot of people too that, because if they are attracted to there's 2 different types of people that are attracted to the team model. They're the people that have never been in real estate. They haven't had any success in real estate, and they don't really know where to start or how to make their business, work. And so they need that structure, and they need opportunity. Yeah. So that's a different person than the people that they just love being on a team. They love being with people. They love coming in and collaborating. They like being a part of something bigger. We partnered with Make-A-Wish. We do things together as a team for that. We are doing a Neighbors in Need for the community tomorrow. We're doing our Pie Day coming up for our past clients. There are some people that they just thrive on that community and being a part of something bigger than just them. And so I feel like those are the people that it's not necessarily I have to hit icon. I just need this to teach me what to do, because you're going to have that people over here, and then you're going to have these people over here that go, I've got one agent, and she came over from a big brokerage and hadn't had any success, and she was getting ready to let her license expire. And so she, last ditch effort, let me try this. And I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't end up, she's been with me for about 1.5 years, really great agent, does decent sales. She'll make, about $100,000 a year. And so she's happy as can be. And I'm telling you, I couldn't run her off with a stick because she loves the team. Right. And I think she will end up being somebody who Eventually, if we start a school, that's one of the things, in our, 5 to 7 year plan, that if we're running a school, I wouldn't be surprised if she's not the one running it.
That's
And
awesome.
so I think that you have to figure out and identify with people what gets them going. And if I told her, Sarah, you got to go 80-20, you're making too much money here, this is going to be better for you to go 80-20, you know what you're doing now, she'd be like, no, I don't want to, don't make me. So I just think it's totally different. Then I think you're going to have people that come on. I just had a team member that she got tired of the meetings. She got tired of having to come in all the time. She's been here for a year, and she was like, man, I feel like I've learned so much, and I feel like I now know how to go out and do this. And she's like, I just think that I've almost like outgrown it.
Right.
And so great. How can I help you? How can I help you recruit? How can I help you attract other people? And she recruited somebody to our team. So it's just knowing the different people and I think it's awesome because having those options, but then recognizing that there's going to be people that come on your team that are going to come and they're going to do well, and then they're going to go, and not feeling like that's a failure, because it's not, because they're transitioning off of the team and they're still, under EXP. So it's a win.
Yeah, it is. That's the beauty with EXP and the model. It solves all of the team problems, right? When you build up key people and they start growing and they leave you. It's happened to anybody that's ever had a team, you've experienced. Right. And so it definitely is an awesome solution when it comes to that dynamic.
Yep.
Well, very cool. Erin, thank you so much. Amazing call. Thank you for adding tremendous value and being a true expert mentor and helping everybody out today. For all of you guys listening to the call or listening to the recording, man, share your biggest takeaway with us, and definitely give Erin some love. And I really appreciate you. Erin, thank you so much. And we'll catch everybody next time.
All right. Sounds good. Bye, John.
Bye.